So obviously I've never done this before, so bear with me. I'm making this video especially for you, Jackson. My firstborn. When I found out I was pregnant with you, it was surreal. I was so excited. And your father, when I told him, was just over the moon. As we waited for you and got ready for you, you already know the story, but everyone thought you were a girl due to an early ultrasound, but my gut always said I was having a little boy named Jackson, named after my father, who was just a great man, kind and fair and funny, and you have a lot of those qualities. You know, my mother became ill while you were, when I was 6 months pregnant with you, and it put a lot of stress, of course, because as you unfortunately know, a parent having cancer is very difficult, and that's at any age. And my mom's cancer was terminal in a very quick manner. From the time she was diagnosed till the time she passed away was less than a year. But she took treatment for two reasons. One, because I was pregnant, and she wanted me to have the least amount of stress as possible because I was her child, and that's what mothers do. And two, she wanted to see the new Jack, named after the man that she had loved most of her life. And when you were born, she loved you. She had a room at her house with a crib for when I brought you over so that you would have a place to take a nap. And she had moved to E-Town so that I could be home the last few months of my pregnancy instead of in Pikeville with her getting her treatment. She gave up the life that she had known and the home that she had lived in for 43 years. Just packed it up in a month's time and moved for her child. Because that's what mothers do. Anything for our children. I hope in the last 3 years that I have shown you strength and a way maybe to handle the things that life throws at you that you don't see coming. And I've done this because I love you. And I want you to grow up to be someone strong and hardworking and honest, and someone with integrity and character. And you have all of those qualities. And I'm afraid that you don't necessarily see them in yourself. But they're there. And I know that they're there. Um, you were a funny little boy, full of laughter. Um, but you worried from the time you were small about just about every little thing. Um, it's something that I don't want for you because it's a wasted emotion, worry. Because if anything, life has taught me it does no good. And it only keeps you from experiencing the joy of the moment that you're in. It gives you a lack of ability to experience joy, true joy, that comes from not worrying about anything, because you can't change the way things are going to turn out. If we could, I don't know of anyone that would die from cancer, or a surgery, or getting hit by a car, or a hang gliding accident. We'd all try to live forever. But that's not what this life is about. This life is about leaving your mark on this world and leaving it a better place than you found it. And I'd like to hope that I've done that. I went into medicine because I love people, love to help people. And I grew up in a family that always helped people. My mom delivered Meals on Wheels to shut-ins. From the time I was little, she had me helping elderly neighbors read their mail and carrying in groceries for Miss Johnson next door, who couldn't hardly get up her steps. Just small, everyday kindnesses. It doesn't have to be big at all. It just has to be genuine and come from your heart, and come from that need to help. And I've seen you have that most of your life. I love the way that you don't judge others, and give them a chance to stand on their own abilities. But with that comes sometimes a need to save people, and that's not your job. You really can't save necessarily anyone. They have to want to save themselves. And you can assist in that by encouraging them, but you have to know when to pull away. And at 14 years old, you're not capable of that. And that's why you have parents. I want you to study and learn. I want you to make good grades, and be able to get into college and not worry whether you're going to get in because you haven't done your best. I think very often you sabotage yourself because you're afraid of failure. And I can tell you that the best lessons learned in life very often come from failure. And it can be sometimes one of the best things that ever happened to you. Now, not necessarily at 14. in the 9th grade when that means you lose video games that you love so dearly. But accepting those consequences of your actions, you're getting much better at that. A couple of years ago, you would have had tremendous anger and life would have been pretty miserable. And you seem to have accepted our punishments when we have to do them, and not question us necessarily as much on them. Not that you like them any better, and not that I don't believe that you silently curse us, because that's normal too. But because you're growing up and you're growing into a fine young gentleman that I am proud of. So, I wanted to say that. I'm facing a big surgery. We all know that. And my gut says it's going to be fine. And this isn't my last stand. I think I have a lot more fight left in me, because I have things I need to do. I need to raise my children. I need to see my son excel at the things that he can be great at. His cross country, possibly swimming, and his music, because I think you have a real talent. When it comes to band, I think that more effort could get you anything you wanted there. You want to be first chair, or you going to just practice? And I believe that wholeheartedly. And Mr. Webster obviously sees something in you. And you can choose to show them that he's right, or you can choose to be afraid to fail. I hope you make the right choice on that one. And I plan on being here to see if you do. Either way, I'll see it. I love you. I want you to know that I believe that there is a God. And I believe that He loves us. And that our job here is to love those around us. And like I said, leave things just a little bit better than when we got here. I want you to be a good big brother to Katie and Andrew. Try to only do things to lift them up and not tear them down. Much easier said than done. 14. But by the time you're in your 20s, I would hope that you all have some sort of really close, wonderful relationship. I wanted more than one child because I had grown up an only child, really. Even though I had Kristen and Eric, you know, they lived in Chicago and were raised by Susie. and I was adopted by Susie's mom and raised in Pikeville. So we weren't raised as siblings. And I missed that. I mean, I feel like I missed out on something, not having a sibling to grow up with. And I didn't want that for my children. So I wanted at least 3.